So you read it first, and then I read it, and then we started to experiment with different things.
Yeah. So the big points in the book talk about going to bed early so that you can get up and have a morning routine. Those are like his big points.
That was
We
one big point.
though that yeah.
And why does he say that?
So that you can start your day off the way that we're talking about and have the perfect day.
So most people think, okay, I want to have a morning routine. That means I have to wake up earlier. And so they only focus on the waking up earlier part, but they don't adjust when they're going to sleep. So they want to get up an hour earlier, but they're still going to sleep at the same time. They really wonder why it's so hard to get up so much earlier. If you just focus on the going to sleep part instead of the waking up part, the waking up part is easy.
Easier.
Easier. Exactly.
Easier. It's definitely not easy for me, but it's definitely easier.
So after a ton of experimenting and large times of being like really inconsistent, I think we've finally found something that we've stuck to for, I think for the last year and a half, we've been incredibly consistent with this. That just really works well for us.
And we mean consistent, not just when we're home, but it also comes with us when we travel. It also comes with us in difficult scenarios, and we continue to do it because it actually has that much of an impact on us that it's worth pushing to do even when it's hard.
So here's what ours looks like now, and we just want to we just want to say this for an example. Your morning routine should be something that lights you up, something that full of an activity or activities that you just love to do or that just really work well for you. This is just what works for us. So first, we always meditate or do some form of breath work, and this really primes our mind. It gets us present, and we believe that meditation and being present in your life is literally the most important thing you can possibly train because it allows you to enjoy what you're doing. It allows you to give your full attention to whatever is in front of you.
Yeah, it allows you to reduce your stress, to notice your stress. It can really help you tremendously. I also want to, for anybody who wants to know where we're getting our meditation from, we use an app called Waking Up by Sam Harris. We also use something called Insight Timer. I'm currently pregnant, and on Insight Timer, they have so many pregnancy specific meditations, so I listen to those. There also is one specific about self love and self compassion and manifestation or whatever it is that you're looking for. Insight Timer has so many. You can also go to YouTube and just search word kindness meditation or basic beginner meditation, whatever it is that you're looking for.
Or you can just sit with the timer.
Or you can just sit with the timer. And Insight Timer allows you to do that. So Insight Timer has the option to just set 10 minutes, start it, and then it'll have a bell at the beginning and a bell at
And
the
it'll
end.
just like track how often you're doing it. That's the
Exactly.
only benefit over like a clock, I guess. I'm also getting into the XPT app a little bit. It has some more like intense breathwork protocols, and for a long time I thought breathing is just breathing, but what I'm discovering is that different paces of breathing can elicit a much different response. And if you know anything about me, you know that at one point I was literally a junkie. I was literally a drug addict, and I've always just been like a thrill seeker and trying to like change my state of consciousness in some way. And breath work is a great way to legally and responsibly change your state of consciousness and feel high. Like I feel when I do something like Wim Hof or pranayama or a meditation session, I feel so elevated and energized. And so I'm experimenting with some of that.
Get it. Get
Get
it.
it, boy. So we always start out with that, and that's priming our mind. Then we move on to either Ramwad or some other form of yoga. We have a yoga studio really close to us now that we go to sometimes. And body.
That one's harder for me than it is for you. You love Ramwad.
I don't love. That's one of those things that I really don't love it. I
No,
just
it's good for you.
love how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
actually really don't like it a lot of times. It's hard. It's like boring. Yeah, I haven't really considered that, but I'm committed to doing that every single day.
That's kind
that
of like
I can.
the Mama Gina self-care thing. Do it because future you is going to be fun. And then on the third thing that we do is we clear our minds a little bit more after meditation, after Ramwad, and we journal or plan for
coffee, then journal.
Coffee.
Very specific.
We are very specific about it. I often write some type of poetry. Lately, I've been doing a haiku each morning, which is a 5 syllable, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. It's pretty fun, easy way to write some poetry and feel like a poet. And that's just a way to get our thoughts out on paper. I know both of us generally for journaling do what people call morning pages or just free flowing thought for 2 to 3 pages. If you want to do one page, half a page, doesn't really matter. Free flowing thought, just whatever is coming up in your mind, just putting it down on the paper. I don't know about you, but for me, this is often incredibly disjointed where I just jump from thought. So it's no one's reading this. I know there's zero judgment about this. It's just what is popping up in my mind comes out on the paper. And this for me has been incredibly insightful because I have noticed similar thoughts coming up daily that I didn't even know were consistent things that were in my mind. So maybe an issue with a friend or feeling like I want to connect with a specific person or a stress that I'm having keeps coming up on the paper, and then it is another notification beyond meditation that I need to address that thing in my life, or it's something important to me.
Then I will write about things that I'm working on either at work or in our relationship, and I'll ask myself on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I doing on that? I'll rate all of those, and then if I'm lower than I want to be, I'll ask if there's any action step I can take to move those numbers up. And then I visit some goals, and again, I look at it, is there any action I can take to aggressively move towards any of these goals? And then after that, occasionally, if we have time, we will read or go on a walk, or we'll just start to have breakfast. And by the end of that, we feel like really taken care of, really present, and ready to tackle the day.
This takes roughly in total 60 minutes. That's how much time it's generally taking us in the morning. I do want to say, just often you can hear somebody else's experience and you can want to jump in exactly where they are. And I just want to reiterate that this took us a long time to get to this place. So my suggestion, if you're not into morning routines already, if it's not something that you're already accustomed to, waking up in the morning and doing something outside of brushing your teeth and putting clothes on before you start your day, I would pick one thing for the shortest amount of time that you feel like you can reasonably, there's an 80% chance that you're actually going to commit to it, and do that for a little bit first. That's how we got here. I think there's this thing about podcasting or social media where you see where somebody's at and you want to be where they're at, so you jump in there where you don't end up realizing that there was a lot of work that they had to do to get there. So I don't want to make it seem like we just added in 60 minutes into our morning seamlessly. This took legitimately years of work and trying and experimenting and finding what works best for us.
Ideally, one thing to start off. With. Number 2 is to do everything you can to maintain your integrity and your consistency with that one thing. So, for instance, if you're going to say you want to meditate, talk about specifically how long you want to do it. Think about, decide where you want to do it, when you want to do it, what it comes before, what it comes after. So let's see, what is anchoring? Anchoring is you already have a habit like brushing your teeth, and if you decide that meditation comes after brushing your teeth, that's called, I think, habit anchoring.
Habit stacking. I
Habit
think.
stacking.
Yeah. So it's what he's talking about is just making as many decisions ahead of time so that you don't have to have this decision making process in the moment, which can lead to ultimately deciding not to do it at all. So if you've decided all of the things he's talking about, where you're going to do it, when, all of that, it's going to make it more likely that you're actually going to follow through.
And then once you've been consistent with this one thing for ideally at least like a month, then add a second thing. And one thing you can consider is stick to that one thing for a month, and then some days, if you just have more time, feel free to do bonus stuff. But the key here with any habit is to just be consistent with that one thing. So rather than trying to start with 5 things and then inevitably, life gets in the way and it starts to, you don't do it one day, you don't do it another day, and then it kind of falls apart. Pick one thing that you can do every single day. Start really small, nail it, so that it becomes like just a part of who you are, it becomes automatic, then add from there.
Yeah. It's not about not doing more things. Sure, like Michael's saying, add on extra, but make success or what you're aiming for lower than all of those things added. All of those things are added bonuses on top of it, so that we just want to limit the opportunity for you to fail so that you stay motivated, that you can still do it.
And after experimenting with this for a while and figuring out like what really makes sense for you, I think that you'll start to look forward to your mornings. I love our morning routine. I just absolutely love it.
And there is some times where we get up in the morning and we know we have some opportunity to have even extra time, like on the weekends. This is something we do on the weekends. We look forward to the weekend morning routine because we know we have less responsibilities, less obligations, less reason that we have to stop it, and we can drag it out a little bit longer. It is really can actually feel very luxurious at moments.
Yeah, if you're consistent with this, I just truly believe that the way that you go through your entire day you'll have a greater sense of ease, you'll have a little more confidence, and you'll be proactive. You'll stop feeling like you're constantly having to react to what other people want from you because you're on offense, as Adi said earlier.
You get all this extra space, and with all this extra space, you have the opportunity to show up as the kind of person you want to show up as, which feels really, really, really amazing. I highly recommend experimenting with a morning routine. And if you already have one, then we definitely want to hear about it. We want to hear about what's working for you. Maybe you have some ideas that we haven't tried before, and we would love to upgrade and integrate that into our life. So reach out to us on social media, at Michael Caju, at Adi Caju. Or if you're going to pick something from this episode and you're going to try it for 30 days, let us know about that too, and let us know how it's going, maybe how it's impacted your life, what you're getting from it. Is it hard? Is it not? We can give you a little pep talk if you need it. Yeah, we're here for it.
Peace.
The Secret Door to Success by Florence Scovel Shinn. Originally published in 1940. Chapter 1. The Secret Door to Success. So the people shouted when the priest blew with the trumpets, and it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, And the people shouted with a great shout that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. Joshua 6:20. A successful man is always asked, "What is the secret of your success?" People never ask a man who is a failure, "What is the secret of your failure?" It is quite easy to see that no one is interested. People all want to know how to open the secret door to success. For each man there is success, but it seems to be behind a door or wall. In the Bible reading, we have heard the wonderful story of the falling of the walls of Jericho. Of course, all biblical stories have a wall interpretation. We will now talk about your wall, the wall separating you from success. Nearly everyone has built a wall around his own Jericho. This city you are not able to enter contains great treasures, your divinely designed success, and your heart's desire. What kind of wall you have built, or what kind of wall have you built around your Jericho? Often it is a wall of resentment. Resenting someone or resenting a situation shuts off your good. If you are a failure and resent the success of someone else, you are keeping away your own success. I have given the following statement to neutralize envy and resentment. What God has done for others, He now does for me and more. A woman was filled with envy because a friend had received a gift. She made this statement, and an exact duplicate of the gift was given her, plus another present. It was when the children of Israel shouted that the walls of Jericho fell down. When you make an affirmation of truth, your wall of Jericho totters. I gave the following statement to a woman. The walls of lack and delay now crumble away, and I enter my promised land under grace. She had a vivid picture of stepping over a fallen wall and received the demonstration of her good almost immediately. It is the word of realization which brings about a change in your affairs. For words are thoughts. For words and thoughts are a form of radioactivity. Taking an interest in your work, enjoying what you are doing, opens the secret door of success. A number of years ago, I went to California by way of the Panama Canal to speak at the different centers. On the boat, I met a man named Jim Tully. For years, he had been a tramp. He called himself the king of the hobos. He was ambitious and picked up an education. He had a vivid imagination and commenced writing stories about his experiences. He dramatized tramp life. He enjoyed what he was doing and became a very successful author. I remember one book called Outside Looking In. It was made into a motion picture. He is now famous and prosperous and lives in Hollywood. What opened the secret door to success for Jim Tully? Dramatizing his life, being interested in what he was doing. He made the most of being a tramp. On the boat, we all sat at the captain's table, which gave us a chance to talk. Mrs. Grace Stone was also a passenger on the boat. She had written The Bitter Tea of General Yen and was going to Hollywood to have it made into a moving picture. She had lived in China and was inspired to write the book. That is the secret of success, to make what you are doing interesting to other people. Be interested yourself, and others will find you interesting. A good disposition, a smile, often opens the secret door. The Chinese say, a man without a smiling face must not open a shop. The success of a smile was talked about in a French movie picture in which Chevalier took the lead. The picture was called With a Smile. One of the characters had become poor, dreary, and almost a derelict. He said to Chevalier, "What good has my honesty done me?" Chevalier replied, "Even honesty won't help you without a smile. business with your family. Silence is golden. He took my lead. During dinner, he refused to talk about business. His mother and aunt were in despair. They loved to hear all about everything. But his silence proved golden. Not long after, he was given a position at $100 a week, and in a few years, he had a salary of $300 a week. Success is not a secret. It is a system. Many people are up against the wall of discouragement. Courage and endurance are part of the system. We read this in the lives of all successful men and women. I had an amusing experience which brought this to my notice. I went to a moving picture theater to meet a friend. While waiting, I stood near a young boy selling programs. He called to people passing, "Buy a complete program of the picture, containing photographs of the actors and a sketch of their lives." Most people passed by without buying. To my great surprise, he suddenly turned to me and said, "Say, this ain't no racket for a guy with ambition." Then he gave a discourse on success. He said, "Most people give up just before something big is coming to them. A successful man never gives up." Of course, I was interested and said, "I'll bring you a book the next time I come. It is called The Game of Life and How to Play It. You will agree with a lot of the ideas." A week or two later, I went back with the book. The girl at the ticket office said to him, "Let me read it, Eddie, while you are selling programs." The man who took tickets leaned over to see what it was about. The game of life always gets people's interest. I returned to the theater in about 3 weeks. Eddie
谢谢点亮哦。不懂我的心，不懂我心是怎样。星星嗨，欢迎到直播间。拉拉很会哦。什么奥迪什么？奥迪跟纳尼嗨，欢迎，谢谢点亮哦。感冒了还不休息，没关系，待会再休息就好。我19。
นะคะแล้วก็เป็น8 cc ปากสวยมากครับสวยเหรอทาลิปสีสวยด้วยหรือเปล่าสีชมพูแบบหวานๆน่ะ หนูนะแต่งหน้าแบบพยายามแต่งหน้าให้มันแบบเซ็กซี่แต่ก็หวานเหมือนเดิมหน้าหวานเหมือนเดิม ก็เลยวันนี้ก็แต่งเบาๆหวานๆไปแล้วกัน ถ้าแบบแต่งอย่างนั้นมันต้องแบบทำแบบบอกตาทำอะไรแบบจัดไปเลยเงี้ยเงียนเหมือนกันหนูก็เงียนนะเป็นเมนหนูก็เงียนนะแต่ว่าก็ทำ ล็อกทำอะไรล็อกถอดโหมดเซ็กซี่
He had gone. He had expanded into a new job that he liked. His wall of Jericho had crumbled. He had refused to be discouraged. Only twice is the word success mentioned in the Bible, both times in the book of Joshua. Only be strong and very courageous to observe, to do according to all the law which Moses, my servant, commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right nor to the left, that thou mayest have good success whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart from thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do all that is written therein. For then shalt thou make thy way prosperous, and thou shalt have good success. Turn not to the right, nor to the left. The road to success is a straight and narrow path. It is a road of loving absorption, of undivided attention. You attract the things you give a great deal of thought to. So if you give a great deal of thought to lack, you attract lack. If you give a great deal of thought to injustice, you attract more injustice. Joshua said, "And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when ye hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up, every man straight before him." The inner meaning of this story is the power of the word, your word, which dissolves obstacles and removes barriers. When the people shouted, the walls fell down. We find in folklore and fairy stories, which come down from legends founded on truth, the same idea. A word opens a door or cleaves a rock. We have it again in the Arabian Nights story, Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. I saw it made into a moving picture. Ali Baba has a secret hiding place, hidden somewhere behind rocks and mountains. The entrance may only be gained by speaking a secret word. It is, "Open Sesame." Ali Baba faces the mountain and cries, "Open Sesame," and the rocks slide apart. It is very inspiring, for it gives you the realization of how your own rocks and barriers will part at the right word. So let us take this statement, "The walls of lack and delay now crumble away, and I enter my promised land under grace." Chapter 2. Bricks without straw. There shall no straw be given you, yet ye shall make bricks without straw. Exodus 5:18. In the 5th chapter of Exodus, we have a picture of everyday life when giving a metaphysical interpretation. The children of Israel were in bondage to Pharaoh, the cruel taskmaster, ruler of Egypt. They were kept in slavery, making bricks, and were hated and despised. Moses had orders from the Lord to deliver his people from bondage. Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, "Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness." Pharaoh not only refused to let them go, but told them he would make their tasks even more difficult. They must now make bricks without straw being provided for them. And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spake to the people, saying, "Thus saith Pharaoh, I will not give you straw. Go ye, get your straw where ye can find it, yet not aught of your work shall be diminished." It was impossible to make bricks without straw. The children of Israel were completely crushed by Pharaoh. They were beaten for not producing the bricks. Then came the message from Jehovah. "Go therefore now and work, for there shall no straw be given you, yet shall ye deliver the number of bricks." Working with spiritual law, they could make bricks without straw, which means to accomplish the seemingly impossible. How often in life are people confronted with this situation? Agnes M. Lawson, in her Hints to Bible Students, says, "The life in Egypt under foreign oppression is the symbol of man under the hard taskmasters of destructive thinking, pride, fear, resentment, ill will, etc. The deliverance under Moses is the freedom man gains from the taskmasters as he learns the law of life. For we can never come under grace except we first know the law. The law must be made known in order to be fulfilled. In the 111th Psalm, we read the final verse. The fear of the Lord, or law, is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever. Now, if we read the word Lord as law, it will give us the key to the statement. The fear of the law, karmic law, is the beginning of wisdom.
Là ngày nhân nhôm tôi làm start rương cái vô của quân đi sầm pơ sầm lẹ tất cả nó nhân nhôm đó mà lượt lại khay tôi cho bao mình đưa mà sầm pơ bao tức cương nơi cả đào sầm mọt đối nhân nhôm hay cái ngò thầm mấy bàn cương với ăn bên ấy thử cương tôm mò ấy thử cương sao là mấy bàn cương chặt nào vô mà nu ca kì này chặt bay đón từ bị nãy nhân nhôm từ bị đã từ một quân đi sập pơ tặng bay đón mà thà từ mà đón ấy mình ấy từ tặng bay đón nè sập pơ tặng ó thà ở đây mình nư nó chỉ nghe ấy ca kì này to là tầm lẽ cháu lấy tầm chân dương ngọt nơi cái nào sập một tặng ó này ai nghe này ná cái chắp tầm lẽ tắc slap từ nè đây bè bị khổ sang nơi lư sầm pơ nó từ xua bè sầm ma sam quân điên nó miền cam ấy ban ao kia chắc thử channel ca kì này tặng bay đòn ấy slap nơi không sầm mót bán và ông lư khi ở tây tại chia được bao niềng nó miền sky nó và đa từ đa màu đa máu hay sky nó chia ở tây tắc ở đây rồi bao niềng nó nhìn nhôm vừa lấy hay chắc niệm sky nó sánh niềng nó đôi tham một quân ảnh chẳng hết nhìn nhôm á hay chết ta và lay và vui niềng nó hay kia chết ta phải chơi cái chết ta phải tàu niềng đi bàn ở đây mũi bà đá màu hay niềng nó mày chứ nhìn nhôm kia phải tàu hay chẳng niềng nó mày chứ nhôm không mà kia ngày nó ảnh những ảnh ơi ấy nơi chụp mũi anh thế ảnh không mà kia thải ở đây anh tam bít đấy nhìn nhôm tam bít đấy ở đây bèn đã vẫn là ở đây bây ở đây đã chia là ngày sạp té hơi sky nâng mình lọt biên phê hơi em là 200 phê nó hơi sky nâng máu chặt vô tròn có đã nâng trong năng trong có đặc sạch nhé nhìn nhôm á hơi tròn của cô sky từ lẽ châu nó không tức sừng nâng slap nó không tức sừng nâng tư nè bà cam nâng á vừa ai niềng nâng cao mọi chị ấy mấy nhìn nhôm ấy mấy và quân đi sầm pờ chặt cháo thử cháo ca kì này chừng ray tầng bay đòn slap ba bậc cam nó không sầm một nâng từ trong ban vợ ông sầm đại tha nè on bờ lực hè nè sầm một sầm mai chế nâng tha một cô tua chỉ ha từ lơ mê cái đây châu từ không rung phum cái đây tới cái đa sầm một cái đấy có mình ái rút thích tranh nhầm pi pal này ba bậc cam bàn đai ba bậc cam để luôn bàn vừa hơi đó từ từ tua pal chẳng hạn này nhìn nhôm đó chẳng nhìn nhôm thằng o kia miền hệ rễ ao từ bắc sang con chia cùng nọc rùa cho tam luôn lương chèm cá trào lùi cá đây cho lùi bà nè bọn sầm đại bọn nhang trào rễ hệ tu hạ răng bọn nắng trào lùi ọt bàn tê lương che ọt cao tê rọp sầm bát hàng cày tôi chia khảo ao lọ đặt lùi nè chung vinh luôn đại chiên bích đại nhìn nhôm nó không bọt sọp đại nhôm đại đặt cả nó màu yêu cả nó từ bàn đấy ọt bàn tê cái đợt đấy che ọt tư nhôm từ nào tham là xa lự rương rồi ba ai đâm con phê với nhìn nhôm thọp squat mua quạt đấy nhôm squat lẽ là ngày quạt tây tạ rần tây của xuông ấp rum bạn quạt chăm chiết nhìn nhôm quạt chăm chiết đó quạt lọp bùa riến quạt sắc mới vô bộ cuốn đó slap tới kỳ vô tới tầm cao sắp nơi lần vua đấy គេពីដើមគេមិនទម្លាប់ដាក់កាក់នៅក្នុងមាត់ណាញាតិញោមណាហ្នឹងហើយយកទៅតម្កល់នៅក្នុងវត្តហ្នឹងអាពួកអ្នកផឹកស្រា2នាក់វាអត់លុយផឹកស្រាវាមកអីញាតិញោមដឹងហើយវាមកអីវាមកគោះយកអាកាក់ពីមាត់ខ្មោចហ្នឹងទៅញាតិញោមហើយគាត់ហ្នឹងឯតំពលភេងរាល់ថ្ងៃហ្នឹងគាត់កើតទៅជារុក្ខទេវតាអមនុស្សមិនទេនៅហ្នឹងដឹងឃើញ2នាក់ហ្នឹងមកគោះមាត់គាត់យកកាក់ចំណាំមុខហ្មងចំណាំមុខស្លាប់ទៅកើតមកជាបាន 3-4 ឆ្នាំកាលពីនៅទូចហ្នឹងប្រាប់ម៉ែរឿងរ៉ាវសពគ្រប់ទាំងអស់ចេះមួយទៅតាមចាប់អាចោ2នាក់ហ្នឹងមកញាតិញោមមើលប្រដឹងប្រធានភូមិចាប់សាររឿងរ៉ាវសពគ្រប់ទាំងអស់ចាប់ចោលឆ្លងភពទៀតធម្មតាញាតិញោមអាត្មាចង់លើកមកហ្នឹងថាសំបីតកៈមកៈហ្នឹងក៏ខ្មោចហ្នឹងយកទៅបានទេញាតិញោមយកទៅបានទេអាត្មាយកអីទៅបានអញ្ចឹងញាតិញោមយកអីទៅបានហ្នឹងហើយនេះរស់នៅហ្នឹងបានសំអីខ្លះបានធ្វើអំពើល្អអីខ្លះអាក្រក់អីខ្លះអាក្រក់ក៏យកទៅដែរមែនទេញាតិញោមណាមិនអាចទុកចោលឲ្យលោកបាំងស្គលយកបានទេលោកអត់បាំងស្គលយកកើតទេអញ្ចឹងបានយើងត្រូវសន្សំជីវិតរបស់យើងនឹងមិនទៀងមិនទាត់ទេផ្លាស់ប្ដូរប្រែប្រួលទៅអញ្ចឹងមុននឹងមរណៈមុននឹងការព្រាត់ប្រាសពេញបនឲ្យបានច្រើនទៅក្នុងជីវិតហ្នឹងវាមានរឿងមានរាវមានអកុសលមកបៀតបៀនចិត្តយើងខ្លាំងណាមួម៉ៅខឹងក្រោតចំណែននិន្ទាជីវិតហ្នឹងព្រួយបារម្ភសិតតែពួកព្រាយបិសាចក្នុងចិត្តវាធ្វើឲ្យយើងមួម៉ៅវាធ្វើឲ្យយើងកើតទុក្ខហ្នឹងហើយតែមានពួកអកុសលនឹងច្រើនយើងអត់សូវមានពេលបំពេញបុណ្យដឹងគុណម៉ែដឹងគុណឪចែកទានមានមេត្តាករុណាខន្តីអត់សូវមានទេឲ្យតែវាមានអធិពលនៅលើផ្លូវចិត្តរបស់យើងច្រើនហ្នឹងអញ្ចឹងតើមានឱកាសថ្វាយអង្គមបរតនត្រ័យទៅអើយយកពុទ្ធពធជាទីពឹងណាមានសទ្ធាព្រះអង្គជួយណែនាំផ្លូវសบายចិត្តណានឹកដល់ពធនឹកដល់ពុទ្ធពុទ្ធធព្រះអង្គបានត្រាស់ដឹងហើយពុទ្ធធព្រះអង្គបានត្រាស់ដឹងហើយសบายចិត្តនឹងព្រះជ្រោកយកចិត្តរបស់យើងនឹងជ្រោកនៅក្រោមមលុបគុណពុទ្ធខ្លះទៅណាកុំឲ្យវានៅក្រោមកម្ដៅរបស់អកុសលហ្នឹងអើយអញមានពេលមកស្ដាប់ធម៌ខ្លះហើយជីវិតហ្នឹងវាពិបាកអញ្ចឹងឥឡូវពិបាកទៅធ្វើម៉េចទេជីវិតហ្នឹងវាអញ្ចឹងមានពេលមកស្ដាប់ធម៌មកធ្វើទានជាមួយព្រះសង្ឃមកធ្វើទានជាមួយម៉ែជាមួយឪទៅហើយមានចិត្តមេត្តាទៅមិនខឹងមិនគុំមិនស្អប់អ្នកណាទេអើយម្នាក់នេះវាសំកម្មសំបុណ្យសំបាបរៀងខ្លួនតែយើងខឹងគេបាបយើងបាបញាតិញោមហើយពិបាកគេពិបាកយើងខឹងគេបាក់យើងគុំគេជំរឿស្អែកអញដាក់ឯងម្ដងហើយគេអ្នកកើតទុកឯយើងអ្នកកើតទុកអាហ្នឹងញាតិញោមយើងដុតខ្លួនយើងហើយអកុសលហ្នឹងវាដុតយើងរាល់ថ្ងៃវាខឹងតិចទៅអន់ចិត្តនឹងអានេះតិចទៅទាស់ចិត្តនឹងរឿងនោះតិចទៅមួម៉ៅទៅលូលទាំទៅហើយចិត្តរបស់យើងនឹងត្រូវពោះចិត្តត្រូវមូសខាំរាល់ថ្ងៃអត់មានអីដាក់មុងបាញ់ថ្នាំមូសអីឲ្យបានល្អចឹងតលសែបគប់ពធតលស្វែងយល់អំពីដំណើរធម្មជាតិនៃជីវិតនេះថាអ្វីវាមិនមែនចេះតែបានតាមចិត្តយើងចង់ទេអ្វីមានហេតុរបស់វាបានតើយើងមានបុណ្យគ្រប់គ្រាន់តើយើងមានការព្យាយាមគ្រប់គ្រាន់ទើបវាបានផលមកអញ្ចឹងវាមិនអាចយកបខំឲ្យអីញាតិញោមបខំថ្ងៃឲ្យឆាប់រះមកវាតាមយើងចង់ហ៎ញាតិញោមអត់ទេបខំអាទឹកឯងមិនពុះមកអញដាំយូរហើយទៅដាំបាន80អង្សាវាពុះហ៎ញាតិញោមវាពុះហ៎ ទេតលម៉ានបានពុះ100តលវាមានហេតុអានវាគ្រប់គ្រាន់បានវាពុះចឹងទៅយ៉ាងណារឿងរ៉ាវក្នុងលោកហ្នឹងចឹងហើយបើអត់មានបញ្ញាក្តៅក្រហល់កាហាយល្មិចបានអញ្ចឹងមិនគួរវាមិនចេះមកវាកើតទុកបខំមានតណ្ហាឧបាទានខ្លាំងកើតទុកក៏ខ្លាំងដែរបើមានពធវិញទៅមានសមាទិដ្ឋិមានបញ្ញាកំណត់ដឹងថារឿងល្អផលបនបនមានបានសម្រេចអញ្ចឹងយើងផឹងព្រែងបានផលមកល្អអញ្ចឹងប៉ុន្តែពេលខ្លះរឿងមិនល្អកើតឡើងគេស្ដីគេថារស់ស៊ីខាតធ្វើម៉េចទេបាបវាមានពេលឲ្យផលយើងដែរមែនទេញាតិញោមណាហ្នឹងហើយត្រូវគេស្ដីត្រូវគេថាជួបបែកបាក់ឬក៏បាត់បង់អីចឹងហ្នឹងណាគឺមិនទេជីវិតហ្នឹងវាអញ្ចឹងមិនថាតែយូរទេអ្នកណាក៏អញ្ចឹងលោកក៏អញ្ចឹងដែរញាតិញោមលោកពេលមានបុណ្យច្រើនទៅគេមុនឆាន់ទៅលុកលាក់សាច់គូអញ្ចឹងទៅដល់ពេលអស់បុណ្យទៅមីឆុងអញ្ចឹងទៅអានឹងមានអីនឹងថេថេវាអញ្ចឹងញាតិញោមណាបខំមិនបានទេកាត់បន្ថយឧបាទានការប្រកាន់នឹងទៅយើងអត់សូវកើតទុកខ្លាំងទេយើងអត់ប្រកាន់បខំថាអាដើមថ្នោតឯងមិនក៏មិនពណ៌សមកឯងមិនខ្លួនឯងពណ៌ខ្មៅអញ្ចឹងញាតិញោមមានដែរទៅខឹងដើមថ្នោតពណ៌ខ្មៅហ៎ញាតិញោមមានខឹងហ៎អត់ខឹងឯងហេតុអីបានអត់ខឹងវាព្រោះពូជវាមិនញាតិញោមពូជវាមិនពូជវាខ្មៅពូជវាថ្នោតចឹងដើមដូងវាប្រផេះចឹងទៅដើមថ្នាក់ដើមស្មៅវាទៀបចឹងទៅយ៉ាងណាមនុស្សម្នាក់ទាំងអស់គ្នានោះសំពូជមកវាផ្សេងគ្នាកូនពីម៉ែកើតពីផ្ទៃម្ដាយហ្នឹងសួរតែចរិតដូចម្ដាយអត់ញាតិញោមមិនប្រកាសទេនិស័យបនផ្សេងគ្នាចឹងទៅអញ្ចឹងយើងស្វែងយល់អំពីដំណើរនៃសង្ខារធម៌ហ្នឹងយើងអត់កើតទុកទេខំណែនាំបដៅជាបុណ្យរបស់យើងចង់ឲ្យកូនចង់ឲ្យចៅចង់ឲ្យក្មួយនឹងបានល្អអញធ្វើបុណ្យខ្លួនអញណែនាំឯងហ្នឹងណាបើឯងប្រឹងធ្វើល្អទៅបុណ្យពីណាញញោមបុណ្យពីណាបុណ្យកូននៃបុណ្យយើងបើគេធ្វើល្អយើងណែនាំយើងបានបុណ្យបើគេធ្វើល្អគេយើងអ្នកបានបុណ្យគេអ្នកបានបុណ្យគេអ្នកបានបុណ្យហ្នឹងហើយដល់តែមានបញ្ញាថាម្នាក់ហ្នឹងផ្សេងគ្នាអញ្ចឹងមិនអាចបខំបានទេហើយអ្នកណាមានឧបនិស្ស័យយ៉ាងម៉េចទៅអញ្ចឹងទៅណែនាំបានខ្លះមិនបានខ្លះដោយប្រពុតអញ្ចឹងព្រះអង្គមានណែនាំបានមនុស្សគ្រប់គ្នាឯណាទេវទត្តព្រះអង្គណែនាំបានទេញាតិញោមបានទេអត់បានទេនឹងបងថ្លៃផងសុខពុទ្ធឪពុកក្មេងព្រះអង្គផងផ្ទាល់ព្រះនៅតែប្រោសមិនបានអញ្ចឹងណាញាតិញោមណាអញ្ចឹងញាតិញោមស្វែងយល់ពីដំណើរនៃធម្មជាតិទៅទទួលស្គាល់ការពិតថាអញ្ចឹងជីវិតវាមានឡើងវាមានចុះអញ្ចឹងហើយអញ្ចឹងមិនមានការប្រកាន់ហួងហែងមិនខឹងគុំគួនមកពីវាហ្នឹងណាមកបើខំតែចេះវាចេះបានអីអញ្ចឹងទៅណាញាតិញោមណាបខំចេះតែស្ដាយក្រួយចេះតែបើចេះទៅមានអីអាត្មាចេះនឹកឃើញមួយរឿងទៀតចប់ហើយមិនវែងអាសាទញោមម្នាក់នោះគាត់ទិញឡានដីម្ដុំហើយគាត់នឹកឃើញថាដីវារៀងឡើងថ្លៃគាត់លក់រៀបចំលក់ទៅបានរៀងក្រែលដែរ$10,000 $10,000ញាតិញោមណាសบายចិត្តណាលក់ចប់ស្រាប់តែអ្នកទិញតហ្នឹងយកទៅលក់ភ្លាមហ្នឹងញាតិញោមមើលកាលនោះដីវានៅឡើងពុបដីទិញ$10,000លក់បាន$50,000ញាតិញោមស្ដាយហ៎ញាតិញោមស្ដាយហ៎និយាយពីថាមានណាបើចាំតាន់តិចទៀតទៅមានអីអើយមិនគួរមិនគួរណាប្រញាប់លក់កើតទុកអីញាតិញោមមើលកើតទុកពិបាកចិត្តដោះស្រាយចេញឲ្យមកវត្តឲ្យអាត្មាជួយដោះស្រាយអាត្មាគិតក្នុងចិត្តថាអើយយូរមិនយូរបាន$10,000ទេមិនទៀតបើអាត្មាទាំងបានបរិយាមកកម្មសេនផងណាញាតិញោមដីនៅក្បែរវត្តអាត្មាទុកចោលកាលពីហ្នឹងនាំគ្នាលក់ទៅ1ការ៉េ5កាក់ញាតិញោម1ការ៉េ5កាក់លក់តិចលក់ខ្ទី ហើយឥឡូវគេទិញតទៅតឥឡូវមកការ៉េឡើង100 200បាត់ហើយញាតិញោមម្ចាស់ដើមមែនតើបានប៉ុន្មានមិនញាតិញោមបានប៉ុន្មាន5កាក់មិនបានតែ5កាក់អញ្ចឹងម្ចាស់ដើមញាតិញោមមកពីធ្វើបន5កាក់ហ្នឹងហ្មងប្រហែលប៉ុណ្ណាធ្វើបនចិត្តចប់អញ្ចឹងជួយម៉ែហ្នឹងជួយឲ្យបានឈ្មោះថាជួយណាញាតិញោមវាអត់ស្រឡះវាអត់ពេញចិត្តពេញថ្លើមហើយធ្វើបនតាក់អន្តប់អញ្ចឹងបានវាបានបនមក5កាក់ហ្នឹងណាញាតិញោមអញ្ចឹងញាតិញោមចាំម៉ែចាំឪនិយាយឲ្យតែម៉ែអ្នកស្ដាប់តែកូនចាំម៉ែចាំឪធ្វើបនជួយសង្គ្រោះអីហ្នឹងឲ្យអស់ពីចិត្តពីថ្លើមយើងទៅណាបើបនវិញមកបានមកពេញអញ្ចឹងហ្មងញាតិញោមមិនចេះចប់ពេលណាញាតិញោមណាអនុមោទនាហ្នឹងហើយ